So, what happens when a 75-year-old scientist, a man who's also a heart transplant recipient, is suddenly facing eviction? And here's the kicker: he doesn't have a lawyer. All he has are his own words, written down in a formal legal plea. Well, today, we're going to break down that exact document. It's an urgent call for justice, and it really makes you question the very system that's supposed to protect people. All right, so let's set the scene. It all starts with a sound that, can just change your whole world in an instant. A knock on the door when you're least expecting it. And we know exactly when this happened. We're talking about Sunday, January 4th, 2026. The fact that this all went down in the early hours of the morning, well, that just ramps up the tension, doesn't it? So this is straight from Dr. Mohammed Fayyad himself. And, he's actually careful to point out that the officers were professional. But that detail just makes what he says happened next feel even more, well, jarring. It's really the core of his whole complaint. Okay, so who is Dr. Fayyad? I mean, to really get why this plea is so important, we have to understand a little bit about the person at the center of it all. Yeah, this isn't just some random person. We're talking about a 75-year-old scientist and professor. And get this, he's a heart transplant recipient, which right away makes his health a huge factor here. But maybe the most critical piece of the puzzle, legally speaking, is that he's appearing pro se. And on top of all that, he claims that for the main case, the one leading to all this, there was never even a trial. Now, you might be hearing that term, pro se, and wondering what it is. It's Latin, and it basically means for oneself. In court, it means you're your own lawyer. And that is a huge deal, because it just underscores the incredible challenge anyone, I don't care how smart you are, faces when they try to navigate the legal system all by themselves. And that whole situation, not having a lawyer, that leads us right to the heart of his argument. This isn't just him saying, "Don't evict me." No, this is a fundamental complaint about how the whole thing was handled, about the process. Okay, so his first big point is all about this one moment at his door. He says he asked to see the actual court order for the eviction, which that's a basic legal right? You should be able to see the document. But he claims the officers, while they said they had it, just wouldn't let him look at it. And for him, this wasn't some small oversight. To him, it was a total breakdown of transparency. But really, this is about way more than just that one moment. Dr. Fayyad is basically arguing that this incident is just the tip of the iceberg. It's a symptom, he says, of a much bigger problem, that these huge, life-changing decisions about his home were made without him ever getting a real chance to defend himself in a court. So, faced with all this, and feeling like the system has completely failed him, what does he do? He takes it to the next level. He writes this urgent plea for help and sends it to some of the most powerful officials in the entire state. And he's really careful about how he frames this. He's not saying he's special or needs an exemption. He's positioning himself as a citizen who's just asking for basic fairness. I mean, his words are pretty powerful. He's not trying to get around the law. He's asking for the law to be what it's supposed to be. So what is he actually asking for? Well, his plea has 4 super clear demands. First, he wants an emergency stop to the eviction, pointing to his age and his health. Makes sense. Second, he wants someone to do a complete review of his case, because he feels like his side of the story was never actually heard. Third, he's asking for help getting a lawyer who can actually represent him properly. And last, he wants them to finally address the 6 other complaints he's already filed. And if you want to know how serious he is, just look at who he sent this plea to. This wasn't just filed at the local courthouse. Nope. This went to the governor of California, the state attorney general, the Santa Clara County DA, and sheriff. He even sent it to international human rights and academic groups. I mean, he's basically sounding the alarm to anyone and everyone who will listen. So when you put it all together, the knock on the door, the complaint about the process, this massive plea for help, it all builds up to this really deep final question about what the law is even for. And the way Dr. Fayyad ends his letter, it's just so powerful. He argues that a legal system's true strength isn't just its ability to punish people or enforce rules. It's about delivering actual justice before any of that happens. It really takes his personal struggle and turns it into something we can all think about. And that really leaves us with this huge question, doesn't it? When the very process that's supposed to guarantee fairness gets questioned, what is the real measure of justice then? It's something to think about.